New Orleans Saints, don't look now. Jeez. Don't look now. Saints are a wagon. And if you listen to the way AQ was talking about him last week for the In the Trenches segment, he's like, this offensive line is dominant. Anytime you have a dominant offensive line, you have a chance to win, let alone if you have Alvin Kamara in the backfield. He goes for 4 touchdowns just yesterday. Derek Carr's spinning it all over the place. And Derek Carr's hitting Michael Jackson in the face of all it. Kick that thing.
Hey.
Clean.
Clean J's, too.
Boom. Very clean J's, which Derek Carr has always had. That's Derek Carr.
Yeah.
Okay? That is Derek. Derek Carr is feeling himself legitimately, metaphorically, and everything like that, as he should be. They are Olave, dog, Shaheed, very fast. I mean, and they're... Nobody was talking about the Saints going into the season. No offense, the NFC South. It was like, what a clusterfuck this AFC South is. This Saints team, week 1, they had a 30-point lead at halftime. Week 2, they have 35 points at halftime. It's like they're starting faster than anybody. They're in Dallas's house. They're in Jerry World against this daunted and historic defense with Zimmer on the call with what they just did to the Cleveland Browns. Instead, Kamara's literally dancing into the end zone, and all of a sudden everybody's saying this is who the Dallas Cowboys are and have been. They're frauds. It's like, maybe that's not the case. Maybe the Saints team is the real deal. This Saints team is fun to watch. On the defensive side, obviously, they've always been great. On the offensive side, can they figure it out? Can Derek Carr lead you to a dub? It's like, well, if they're going to utilize Kamara the way they're utilizing Kamara right now, and Derek Carr is as comfortable as he is with the weapons that he has, it's like, look out for the New Orleans Saints in the NFC. There's a lot of teams are talking about the NFC all of a sudden. Green Bay Packers, potentially. How are the Eagles going to look tonight? Are they all the way back like they showcased in the first one? San Francisco 49ers, they go to Minnesota and run into a KOC train. Vikings could be very good. Lions, question mark. It's like a lot of questions around the NFC and the entirety of the NFL. This is Connors, hashtag I don't overreact. But the Saints might have the best offense in the history of the NFL. Derek Carr looks like Dan Marino. Alvin Kamara looks like 2006 with Danian Tomlinson. Chris Olave catches everything thrown relatively close to him. Look out for Denny Allen in the New Orleans Saints. I agree with what you're saying there, Colin. Yeah. They look phenomenal.
It's like actually shocking. And I'm sure AQ will have some stuff on the offensive line because they're ponding people up front. But like we were just talking about the Cowboys defense just a week ago as being the most dominant defense in the entire NFL after that whole entire Cleveland Browns game. And now a week later, it's like, holy shit, forget about that team. Like, look at what these New Orleans Saints are. So, I mean, Derek Carr, we'll see what happens because, this whole Derek Carr season thing typically, starts like this and then, we'll see how it progresses. But this one feels different for the Saints. Like, if I'm a Saints fan right now, I am hammering them to win the Super Bowl because especially with it being in New Orleans, we've seen the last 4 or 5 years, these home teams have gone on to actually, go all the way when it's at their home stadium. Like, I would feel fantastic if I'm a Saints fan about this entire season.
Hey, good luck to the Saints. Go on a run.
Hell yeah.
Down New Orleans. New Orleans, obviously, an incredibly good time. That city as a whole. They were running a parade outside Jerry World yesterday. They just gathered up. Everybody knew the deal. Hey, after we win, we're going to do a fucking parade out here in Jerry World, walk right through their parking lot, make every Dallas Cowboys fan know that. I have no idea how this was choreographed and prepared.
And the instruments and everything,
But I like that everybody just bought in. And anytime you're doing a parade in another team's town, that's always going to be a good day. Congrats to the Saints.
A lot of fans. And, I mean, speaking of that, Saints, 49ers, they lose early. We don't know what Philly's going to be. So, who's at the top of the NFC?
Oh,
Lions took it yesterday.
Oh, and the Saints. They'll beat your hands with good football, and then they'll march all over your town.
Go, Saints. Go.
Good for them.
Dude, they're awesome. They're like...
Once Derek Carr grabbed his meat, you knew. Once he grabbed his meat, that game's over. It was flawlessly executed, too.
That's a confident celebration.
I love everything about it. I do wonder if at the pearly gates they're going to say, you remember this? And he's going to say, fucking nailed it.
I did. You want to see it again?
Killed it. It's so perfect. Perfect angle.
Here,
Oh, here it is. This is hilarious. Right in their end zone.
And we're covering his feet. Not bad. Especially with the J's on that he had.
Mm-hmm. Good patience, too. Good patience with this, too. He didn't rush it.
Yeah, he's in somebody else's house, too. So to be that comfortable.
In your face.
That's hilarious.
That is sweet.
It's phenomenal. He's in his own little world there. I hope you dance Derek Carr did.
He did.
Did his dance, didn't he?
Yeah.
Good for him. They enjoy the hot times. New Orleans with the Saints in the Super Bowl would be absurd. Speaking of difficult jobs, the Saints turning that thing around. They were up against it cap-wise. They didn't have a quarterback. They lost their coach. How are they going to figure it out? They certainly did. D-Butt's got a question for you.
Oh, yeah, Coach, I asked you a couple weeks ago which defense I could expect to be good early in the season. You said the Saints, but offensively, they've been great when it's Clint Kubiak. Offense, Derek Carr is spinning it big back-to-back weeks. What's your thoughts on this New Orleans Saints offense early in the season?
Well, one of the best things that the Saints have done is play from ahead, right? And so they've gotten ahead early in the game. They've been able to, run their offense, which is, the stretch, boot, try to stay out of third down. Kamara's running well. I think it'll be this is really an interesting team. I think that they're one of the oldest teams in the league, one of the most experienced teams in the league. And I think that's really helped them, to this point with their execution, situational football, et cetera. The question is, will they be able to hold up, and will they be able to sustain that, or will they wear down a little bit and so forth that you always worry about with teams that have a little bit of age on them. But certainly they've gotten off to a great start, and to beat Dallas like that in Dallas is very impressive. Long way to go. Still a long way to go, but. Clint Kubiak to Gary Kubiak to Kyle Shanahan to Mike Shanahan. There's a lot of history with this, stretch offense from Coach Shanahan, West Coast passing, that's really stood the test of time. It's been a great offensive system through the years, and certainly they're off to a great start down there in New Orleans. 40 points a game is incredible.
First week they go into halftime with 30. This time it was like 35 going into half. What is the key to like a hot start? And that is a wild question, I guess, because humans react differently. But there's been a couple teams that I've been on, and once again, I just have a front row seat to all this shit, where you think the team is ready, and then second half is the only time they show up. And then there's been a couple teams where first half show up, second half kind of lose their way. And I've always been confused about why this happens. Is it human nature? Is their team just shows up better? Like, if you're playing against the Saints, first half we're going to have to be there.
Right.
What's the messaging, you think, and how did the Saints become this team?
Yeah, well, look, there's two ways to score, right, offensively. One is on explosive plays, and the other is to drive the ball through the red area. So I think, number one, if you can eliminate the explosive plays, which they've been able to hit, and force them to drive the ball through the red area, you just have a lot more chances on defense to stop them. So, number one, don't give up big plays. Don't give it all up in one play. And then, be ready to play good red area defense when they get the ball down there. Look, they're going to move the ball. They're going to have some red area opportunities. But red area defense will be very important in trying to, hold the score down. Certainly not going to win many games giving up 42, 45 points and that type of thing. So you got to find a way to, to put a lid on it. And number one, don't give up big plays. And number two, play good red area defense are the two best ways to keep the points, manageable.
I've been a part of a buzzsaw down in New Orleans. First play of the game, strip sack touchdown. So they scored. Yeah, that was first play of the game.
Uh-oh.
And that place just went absolutely bananas. And they hung 60, I think, that night. I think Jimmy Graham might have just scored another touchdown from that game, to be honest with how it gets going. But that's a whole nother department. Like, if they were home there, now obviously going to Dallas and do that place is not easy. That is a loud place. That is infectious. It's like, are the Saints all the way back? It feels like it.